everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live interview. My name is Sue Barros, and I'm Director of Admissions for Tulane University School of Public Health and Tropical Medicine. And today's guest comes to us from our financial aid office. His name is Jonathan Jewett. Jonathan, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Jonathan Jouet. I'm one of the assistant directors at the Tulane University Office of Financial Aid. I am a Tulane graduate twice, once an undergrad, and I did my Master's of Business here and graduated in 2015.
Excellent. Okay, well, you might not know that we are actually a divided campus. We have an uptown campus where our undergrad programs are housed and other grad programs like architecture and business. But then we have a downtown campus too that's on Canal Street in the Central Business District. So, Jonathan, can you tell us about who you serve?
Yes, the office that I work on this campus, the downtown campus, services the School of Medicine, the School of Public Health and Tropical Medicine, and the School of Social Work.
Okay, and what about the staff in your office? How many people do you have on staff to serve our downtown campus?
We have 4 dedicated counselors plus one administrative assistant. Each counselor handles a different section of the alphabet divided by last name. We have Mr. Jermaine Allen, Mr. Miguel Devizin, Mr. Jim Bourgeois, and myself. And our front desk or administrative assistant is Ms. Donna Fasulo. She's our primary point of contact. So if you call our office or visit our office, you're probably going to speak to Ms. Donna first.
Okay. Well, I understand there's different types of financial aid. Can you explain those?
Yes. So in our world, financial aid encompasses everything that could help you pay for your educational costs. That includes things like the Federal Direct Loan Program. Our office primarily deals with Federal Direct Aid, which is applied for using the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. When you complete the FAFSA, you are applying for 3 different types of federal aid: the Federal Direct Unsubsidized Loan, the Federal Direct Grad Plus Loan, and Federal Work Study. There are other types of aid that you can receive, and generally if you do have this type of assistance, you'll want to let us know. Good examples of that would be the AmeriCorps assistance or possibly employee benefits.
Okay. And each year, your office does a cost of attendance projection, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Cost of attendance is a way we allocate your financial aid award to what it costs for you to attend school. This cost includes things like tuition and fees and allowances for living expenses. The next year's 18-19 allocation would be broken down as follows. For tuition and fees, we're assuming that a student would take 12 hours in each semester, or a total of 24 credits, and the rate for those credits is $1,319 per credit hour. That means the total tuition and fees for 1 year would be $35,316. We also add an allocation for living expenses, things to help you pay rent, buy your books, while you're in school, because many of our students are working the whole time they're in school and they cannot afford to have a part-time job. So the allocation we give for living expenses is an additional $23,816, which would mean that in a given year, your financial aid award that we're trying to reach would come up to $59,132.
Okay. Well, it's helpful to have those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, in regard to the federal loans, are there any specifics we should know about these loans that are available?
Yes, absolutely. The federal direct loans offer various repayment options, which I'm sure we'll talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
But the basic things that you need to know is that they are unsubsidized loans, which means they accumulate interest, simple interest while you're in school. The unsubsidized federal direct Stafford loan is a 6% interest rate, and the plus loan is a 7% interest rate. There's also a loan fee associated with these loans. A loan fee is taken from the amount you borrow when the loans are paid to the school. The loan fee is taken by the federal government. This means that, for example, if you borrow $100 of unsubsidized loan, and the loan fee is 1.066%, which is the current loan fee, you would borrow $100, but the federal government would send $99 to the school to pay for your tuition and fees. The PLUS loan is a little bit bigger loan fee. The loan fee is 4.264%, meaning that if you borrow $100 of PLUS loan, the school will receive $96 of payment. You would still be responsible for paying the full $100 you borrow.
Okay, so that means that for every $100 that you borrow, you're getting $4 less in actual
Yes,
cash.
that's correct, for the PLUS loan.
Okay, that makes sense because there are loan fees.
Mm-hmm.
All right, can you give us an example of how the billing and refunds work?
Yes, that's correct. Yes. So the billing statement is put together by the Office of Accounts Receivable. When you register for classes at the beginning of the semester, you are charged a tuition and fee rate based on the number of hours you take. When you begin classes, assuming you've done everything in terms of promissory notes and entrance counseling for these loans, the loans will arrive and pay on your Tulane student bill. If you borrow more loans than what is charged on your bill, you would have what we call as a credit balance on your account. So it would be a negative number. It would be an overpayment on your account. At that point, the Office of Accounts Receivable can issue you a refund for the negative balance. They would take the extra money that you borrowed for things like living expenses and books and put it into your bank account. And then you would be able to use that throughout the semester. It's all given up front, but it would be the allocation for the entire semester.
Okay, so then that involves money management.
That's correct.
So, and you are in financial aid and you manage counseling as well. So
Right.
what advice do you have for our students on managing loan repayment?
Yes, well, the number one thing is borrow conservatively. It's always a lot easier to repay a lower amount loan. So it's easier to pay back $10,000 than it is to pay back $30,000, for example. So you want to borrow conservatively. One good way to do that would be to limit your borrowing when it comes to what you use for living expenses. In other words, if you do not need to borrow the additional $23,000 I mentioned earlier for living expenses, you don't have to. The good thing is even if you arrive at school and don't think you need that money, it will be available to you from the first day of classes to the last day. So if something happens and you were in a situation where possibly you needed money later, we could still assist you with it. But once you borrow the maximum, there isn't much I can do to give you more money. But definitely borrow conservatively and then take advantage of the different loan repayment programs that are available with these loans.
Okay, right, and there are different ways that our students do defray the cost of student loans, and that is by maybe taking a position as a teaching assistant or a graduate assistant worker or a research assistant. And these are either paid by an hourly wage or with a stipend. So that can definitely help in paying your cost of living expenses or books so that you're able to borrow less, right? And then other ways, you maybe could rent somewhere and have roommates rather than living singly and paying rent all on your own. If you have roommates, that helps cut the cost as well. So there's many different things students can do to help reduce the amount of federal loans that they are borrowing. Okay, can you give us some advice on how repayment of student loans compare to other types of loans?
Sure. So the federal direct loans that we offer, the primary reason we use them is that they offer a lot of flexibility in repayment that you're not going to see in other types of loans anywhere else. And it's not specific to this school. These are federal programs, so every school would use these loans. But in your lifetime, you will not encounter loans that work this way when you're talking about things like a car payment, a mortgage, possibly a business loan. What I mean by this is that the traditional idea of a loan is that you borrow a certain amount of money and you pay it back over a certain period of time for a regular monthly rate. And when you do that, you are pretty much boxed in to paying that monthly payment every month. And if you don't, then you risk defaulting on the loan. with the federal direct unsubsidized loan and the Grad Plus loan, you have a lot more options than that. You can enter multiple different types of repayments. Some of them are like the traditional payment plan like I just explained. But generally we find that sometimes students need a little bit more help, and that additional help comes in the way of what we call an income-driven repayment program. What this means is that these loans that we're offering through the federal system can be based on the amount of money you make, as opposed to how the amount you pay is based on the amount of money you make, as opposed to how much money you've borrowed. And that's done through a process with the loan servicer. It essentially means that the idea is that early in your career, you may not be making as much money as you are later in your career. Maybe early in your career, you cannot afford to pay the full payment that is required to pay off the loan. But later on, as you make more money, you would be more available to pay that off. So if you make your loan repayments based on your income, then the payment you're required to make each month would adjust as you earn more money.
Mm-hmm. Well, John, I love hearing about income-based repayment, because then that means that it's definitely manageable for anyone that graduates and takes their first job.
Right.
Okay, so John, tell us about loan forgiveness.
Okay, loan forgiveness is a benefit that's built in two different ways into these loans that we're offering. The first way is that any time you enter a repayment program that's based on income, like I was just explaining, there's a end frame. So if you are unable to pay off your loans that you borrowed and you're repaying on income-driven repayment, after 20 years, those loans are forgiven. It's a safety net for people who may never actually be able to pay off the loans.
Excellent.
There's also something called loan forgiveness for public service, which many students are very interested in.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about loan forgiveness for public service.
So loan forgiveness for public service is, I tend to view it more as a benefit that you can earn as a result of your career choice instead of a loan repayment strategy. The reason why I say that is because there's a lot of different things you have to accomplish to get the loan forgiveness for public service. The first thing you have to do is you have to be in an income-driven repayment plan. If you're not in an income-driven repayment plan, you cannot get the loan forgiveness for public service. The second criteria you have to meet is that you have to work for a educational or government organization or a nonprofit, a 503c nonprofit organization. You have to be a full-time employee while you're doing the income-driven repayment plan. And then the third criteria you have to meet is that you have to make monthly on-time payments for 10 years or 120 payments. So that means that you have to work for a specific organization or a specific type of organization as a full-time employee for 10 years and make on-time payments each month. Once you've done all of that, then the loan forgiveness for public service benefit will kick in and forgive the rest of your loan.
Well, I think that's an excellent benefit, because do you know most of our students that graduate go on to work for nonprofits or for the government? So I think that suits public health very well.
Yes.
John, if anyone wants more information, where can they find that?
So there's a lot of information on the federal website. It's called studentaid.ed.gov. I think we can link this on the bottom.
Yes, I will. I'll add that to our Facebook page.
And also our website has a lot of information in terms of the specifics of the cost of attendance, as well as a debt management and financial literacy page with about 6 hours of information about the different loan repayment programs. And that can be linked through our website, which we'll add at the bottom.
So many helpful videos.
Many helpful videos, yes.
Okay, yes, you do have a great homepage on our website, so I'll share that link as well. John, I want to thank you for joining us today for our Facebook Live event.
Thank you.
This is very useful information for our prospective students. And thank you, Facebook, for joining us and being with us for another Facebook Live event. I hope to see you in the future. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.